Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ GOONS podcast. I'm your host, Tim the Mushmaster, and as always, my co-host is...
No, Nico Ball here with my lovely IBJJF mug. And since before we started recording, Tim was trying to complain about something and I rudely cut him off. And I was like, let me record you complaining. Can we just like hop back right back into what you were saying about why you hate IBJJF? And I'm flagrantly waving this mug around as you complain.
Fucking troll. You're a troll.
I didn't know.
I don't hate the IBJJF. I don't hate the IBJJF. I just have an issue where I'm trying to get my second degree because I need my second stripe on my black belt. And I'm filling out the application. I get the damn first aid. I re-up my first aid. I have all my paperwork in order. And apparently, every year you have to get a new referee course. You have to take the referee course every year. I'm like, that's garbage.
Is it a virtual referee course?
You just have to take the course. Like,
but how? Like in person, virtually? Like where is the course now?
I'm looking to see. I just saw that they just deaded me just now in the email, and I'm pissed because I physically went to one and I sat there for hours going over the referee course. But I have to take the course again. They changed the rules that often where I would need to do it again. Like honestly, like I'm trying to be a coach. Like I feel like I shouldn't have to take the course all the time, or it should just be if I'm an active competitor or I'm actively involved in the sport, why do we have to take it over and over again? The rules have not changed that much. The points have not changed that much. And I'm what does that have to do with me being my black belt?
You would say no matter how many times you guys take that course, like y'all never seem to be able to get it right.
The referees don't. The referees don't know rules. When I went to that rules meeting, them Bamas was like talking about like all these changes to the rules that they did or trying to emphasize different things. But you know what happens at the tournaments? All that shit goes out the window. It all goes out the window. So at the end of the day, I don't think you should have to make us take the course over and over again. Like even the CPR course that you take it every 2 years to re-up. But I've been a black belt for 4 years. Like, really? Is that – I don't understand how I need to know every single minute detail of the rules just to get my second degree on my black belt. I've been training for over a decade. Like, if I'm trying to be a coach in the NBA, do I have to take a rules course every year in order to be qualified to coach? Does that really affect my coaching ability, knowing each and every minute detail, or paying for a referee's course or taking a referee's course time out of my day?
I mean, teachers have to do it. Like, I'm in a whole bunch of, like, school trainings, like, the majority of which I'm not sure how much attention is paid or, you know, but we do have to do a lot of those things.
But you're, like, a teacher.
I mean, refs need to be better. Like, and I mean,
but I'm not trying to be a referee. Like, I'm a coach.
I get it exactly. So it's like trying to work that out in my head. It's like, why do you guys have to take classes every year? But then, like, we still get like, I don't know. What else do you have to do? You had to get like first aid, something you said?
I had to take a freaking first aid course. So I had to retake I understand taking a first aid course because that's more vital to you as an instructor than knowing every minute detail of the rules. Like if you're a black belt, I don't think it's necessary for you to have to take the referee's course every year. And I didn't even see if I had to pay for it. Now I'm going to be really pissed. And I'm going to do it. And I get IBJJF as a for-profit business. I get that. But at a certain point, like I think just in society, people just want to charge you extra money for shit that you don't need to charge people for. Like that's why people are losing it. Like people are going insane. It's like you're just charging me for bullshit.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
And all that.
Yes. Like ugh. And just the price gouging is ridiculous. It just got me started. It just got me riled up, got me started, and I'm gonna lose it. I swear. If I had to pay out the ass for this referee's course, or I have to actually physically go somewhere to take it, I'm gonna be really pissed. And I'm probably gonna have to wait till like next year to take the course, if that's the case. But
so for our listeners, if we have any yoga instructors, anybody that does guided meditations, we need to get you on to talk with Tim. Like, so hit us up in the DMs.
I don't, I don't know how stretching is gonna make me relax. It's probably gonna piss
Breathing,
me off even more.
guided
But
meditation.
the more I breathe, the more power I have to be more pissed off because it's just from within. But anyway, let's just talk about
All
what we're going to talk about today because I could go on a tangent. We're
right.
already 4 minutes into the show. Uh, a lot of people don't understand the difference between being hurt and being injured. Would you agree, Nico?
um, yeah, because I think most athletes just don't try not to acknowledge either one of them. So to distinguish between the two would be even harder.
Yes, I could see that. Another thing is a lot of people act like they have an injury when they actually have a boo-boo. Like that's a big issue that I have with people, like not knowing the difference. And I just think like at a certain point, you have to like understand that you're gonna have aches and pains and you're gonna get hurt. So you see my fingers, right? You see this middle
Yeah.
finger. So in the middle
Oh
of a mat,
wow, wow! What did you? That is ugly as hell.
well, I was in the middle of a tournament. It was the first match of the day, and this was like a New York pro, so there was big money on the line. Well, big for a jiu-jitsu guy. And I snapped my finger. Like I'm a left-handed
Like
gripper.
which way? Like completely in half. Y'all that aren't watching on the YouTube, it like you might want to go and take a look because his finger is all swollen. It looks, and it's
It's been all year. It's
so
been
it does
over a
look like. Did
year.
you
It's been over
snap
a
it
year.
in half? Are you talking about like?
It looked like a Z. So I had a cross collar grip. The person broke the grip off, and like my hand didn't move, but my finger broke. Like it just gave out. It's like pop, and it looked like a Z. Literally looked like a Z. I had to pop it back in place. I had the medics pop it back in, but every match that day it just kept on going in and out.
But why did
And
it happen? How do you
how do you break your
like? Did you have
finger?
like a weird grip or something?
No, it's just when you're grip fighting, you break your fingers. Like, I see a lot of jiu-jitsu guys put up tutorials about how to tape your fingers, and most of them are bullshit. And like, even if you tape them really well, you have to have really good quality tape. And also you got to know what you're doing. And even then you're going to break your fingers. But my dumbass neglected to use finger tape. And my grips are strong. Like I've been doing judo. Like I learned judo from judo Olympians. I trained with them. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu judo for a very long time. And I just took for granted that like your fingers can break. And if you have strong grips and someone rips away, your fingers are bound to give if you don't have finger tape. So that's what happened. They did a grip break. I didn't really let go, but my finger gave way. But I kept fighting. But yeah, and it looks like this. And it still kind of hurts. Like when it rains, I feel like it's gonna hurt. Like I feel it. So but even still, even though it was really gross, I was still able to compete. And I think a broken finger is a boo-boo. You're hurt. It's a hurt. It's not an injury. So my question for you, what is the worst injury that you've gotten, and how long did it take for you to get back into the swing of things with training or competing?
I mean, for me, I would say I've had two major injuries, and they both came via MMA kind of. Well, one was sparring and kickboxing when I got kicked in the eye, and then that's how I got my detached retina, which
Mm-hmm.
started off with like stitches in my eyelid. So I wasn't out of training originally for very long. So like maybe only a couple months. But then when I found out there was a detachment, it was like a complete 6 months. And there was a point where like I couldn't do any physical activity that would get my heart rate up. So that was like super hard. So it's not like, oh, I can try to go to the gym and like lift, or I can just do push-ups, or I could try to do squats. Like I couldn't do anything. So that really sucked. And then my second major injury was at wrestling practice at Novo and Yao when I was training with Claudia, actually. And she just hit me with a blast double. And I think I separated my shoulder. And then I was in Brazil then too. So I just went to like Miguel Cotto, like the socialized hospital over there. It's free. And if it's not like a serious injury, like they're just like whatever. They're like, just don't move your shoulder. Like buy a sling maybe and keep it in place. But you know, I didn't buy a sling. I just hold my like arm up for like maybe a couple weeks. I think that took like maybe 2 months for me to be able to go back to training. And that was like being hurt. I consider that being hurt, but I also think that might have led into like the injury I have with my shoulder now. Cause like right now my shoulder isn't right. And I think it's because back then it didn't heal correctly. And so now I have that to deal with. Those were the two worst ones.
Holy moly, that's pretty gnarly, Nico. I'm not gonna front. Like the detached retina is scary because you can't fuck with your eyes. Like eyes are important, you know.
Yeah.
Like you need them. If you're gonna do MMA, you need your eyes, unless you're Michael Bisping, which is still the most absurd, most ridiculous, most hardcore comeback story for the guy. I didn't even know he didn't have an eye. But yeah,
Yeah, I did because I read it like when I did the first time I got hurt. I was like, am I really gonna go back? Because I went back to fighting. I didn't stop MMA until I came back to the U.S. Like I flew back into a fight. I had multiple fights after the first procedure, and then it was really like my other injuries that kept me from being able to train hard enough, and lift hard enough to do MMA. And I thought it was easier to do Jiu Jitsu. So you know, I was really inspired by Michael Bisping, and that was not the best person to follow in sports.
no, that's still the most craziest shit in sports ever. They need a 30 for 30 about how this guy has a bad eye and fought guys, but I don't think my injury was as gnarly as yours, like as fucked up, but it was definitely more life threatening. So if your guys are listeners of the show, if you listen for a long time, you'll know of my near-death experience from training. And the worst injury I ever had was a perforated colon from doing jiu-jitsu. So go ahead.
I'm just like trying to put like how did you do that?
I guess it's technically my lower intestine, but like basically I was bleeding internally. I was wrestling DJ, and it was the last practice before Brasileiros. Like literally the next day, we were flying out to Brazil. I was a purple belt. Him and Willie were black belts, I think, or Willie was a big Willie who was like 350-pound bear wrestler man, and DJ Jackson. I'm like a purple belt. And in the beginning of practice, we start rolling, and I take him down, or like he pulls. I don't really remember, but I definitely land on top of him. And for some reason, his knees were like straight up in the air, and I landed on him on my stomach. But I thought I got hit in the belly button, or it was like a liver shot. And I ended up wrestling them the next 90 minutes in excruciating pain. But I'm like thinking in my head,
You
like,
landed stomach on both knees, like
it was like back in the day when like Eddie Guerrero would do the frog splash and someone put their knees up. It was basically like that, but in real life. And yeah, that shit hurts. Like it hurts like a mug. And little did I know that I was internally bleeding for like an hour and a half. I finished practice, and it was one of those banger practices where they turn the heat on so guys can lose weight. But I'm with DJ and Willie. But I had the practice of my life. Like I've been doing like guard passing, takedowns, all types of crazy shit. And at the end of practice, I end up on the floor in the fetal position of the locker room. And Derek Holmes, I don't know if you know Derek.
yeah, I do. I confuse him with like everybody else
all the light-skinned dudes on the team. Yeah, so he says, bro, you probably just got hit in the belly button. This happened to me before. It's no big deal. And I'm like, yeah, probably. I'm being a little bitch. Like, I probably got hit in the liver, but I don't think liver shots are supposed to hurt for 2 hours. I end up going to the hospital. I get driven to the hospital. So I call my mom to take me to the hospital because I was in no condition to drive.
Yeah.
I get taken to the emergency room. They bring me in for observation, and they do all these tests, CAT scans, x-rays, all this shit. They say, okay, Mr. Spriggs, we're going to take you under and put a tube down your throat. So I'm like, ugh. But they're like, oh, it's okay. We're just going to go down in your stomach and see what's going on. I was like, okay, it's just an observation.
Okay.
But at worst, maybe like something happened, but I didn't think nothing of it. I wake up and I look down and I have liquid bandage and my stomach's all sutured.
Oh, they just went in right away. They're like, oh.
Yeah, and the reason why they did
the bleeding, right?
Yes, they say, Tim, you are internally bleeding, and like all your bile from your intestines, it starts to leak out, and there's blood and stuff, you can get septic death, like sepsis. Basically, like, you can't have that stuff in your system just leaking out of you. And they said if I had gone on the plane the next day and I had toughed it out, which would have been impossible, but if I was really, really tough, I would have definitely died on that airplane. Like, for sure would have died. I'm lucky today that I do not have a colostomy bag. Like, I'm really lucky. They say that the only way you get that is if you get shot, stabbed, or in a car accident. So this is a 1 in a million thing to happen. So jiu-jitsu is very dangerous, folks. Like,
That's
very,
wild.
like, yeah, man. I have a gnarly scar and everything.
I think the important thing to take away from both those stories, because what I didn't mention was like before, like I got injured out, and before I found out my retina was actually detached, it was bugging me after a boxing match. And then I was about to have my pro MMA debut in Curitiba and then fly back to Rio, and I wasn't going to get my eye checked out until I got back to Rio. And then I was like, nah, screw it, I should just do it. So like I almost had a professional MMA fight with a detached retina, thinking it wasn't that bad. So if you think something's wrong, like a lot of people, like you said, no, I'm just being a little bitch or something like that, yeah, if you think something's wrong, you probably need to go check it out.
Yes, go check it out. But guys, the difference between an injury and a boo-boo or being hurt is that an injury would require a surgery and a significant amount of time off. But if you push your rehab hard, you can get back pretty quickly, because it took me about 4 to 6 weeks to bounce back from that and to go back to training. But I had Ty like on my ass, like, Tim, you're back from surgery. Don't be sitting on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. You need to get out here and start stretching and doing shit. Because if you were in the wild and you got hurt like that, you would die or something like that. It's like, you gotta fight. You gotta fight for your food or some shit like that.
It'd be over.
But so a lot of people can train through excruciating pain, through boo-boos, and through significant injuries. Well, in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, correct,
And you
Nico?
just switched up right quick, right quick. All right, boom, in one breath. All right, yep. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Apologize. Because we were running short
From
on time.
injuries, that's amazing. We went
But it is a major, it
from
is
being
kind of, it's an
hurt
illness.
to injured to chronic illness. You needed to segue.
There's levels.
All
We're
right,
just
yeah.
building up. There's,
Go ahead, because we do have
there's levels.
and I got some stuff I want to say on this topic after you introduce it. So go ahead. We're just, boom.
There's levels to it. And today's guest is Stephen Pesadello Hall. He is a black belt under Alliance. I got his whole let me tell you guys who this brother is. He is like one of the first black belts besides Master Lloyd that I really noticed. He's the big black dude from Texas, basically. You might know him as, but he has a 3rd degree Alliance black belt, now teaching and training out of Octagon MMA in Dallas. And he's been a black belt since 2008. He's a 7-time world masters champion at black belt, 6 times in the gi and 6 times in no gi. He's a 4-time runner-up too. So he also plays trombone. He's a band leader, and he is a cancer survivor. As a matter of fact, he started training after finding out that he had cancer. And he's going to tell us all about that. This man has fought cancer and trained at the same time. So for everybody that has these little boo-boos or these injuries, I mean, this guy was training with an aggressive form of cancer that he's going to explain to us later on in this episode. But yeah, so that's why I wanted to talk about the difference between boo-boos, injuries, and chronic illness. But Nico, this cancer, breast cancer awareness is something near and dear to your heart, correct?
Yeah, so it's something I kind of got into because, everybody knows I do Favela Jiu Jitsu. So if you don't know what Favela Jiu Jitsu is, and because I've gotten a couple people asking me where the location of the social project is, Favela Jiu Jitsu is just a media company or an Instagram page that follows athletes from social projects or from Rio's or Sao Paulo's favelas, or really kind of any like projects or social projects, the streets. That do jujitsu. So there's one group down in Sao Paulo, and I don't know a lot of people in Sao Paulo, but these are like some real dope people, and they post all the time about stuff that they do for the community. But recently they started raffling off t-shirts and things like perfume to help a student of theirs that has cancer, that has ocular cancer. apparently. So he is like the youngest son of 7 brothers and sisters. So they have a huge family. I hit up the teacher to ask a little bit more, and there's actually a videographer that's in Rio in my favela, Cantagalo. He was at my social project. He went down and did like this 40-minute documentary that's all in Portuguese, and he raised some money to help the family because like they're working off one salary. So the mom had to leave her job to help take care of the son. And the Brazilian minimum wage is about, what do I pay? About $320 a month. And his cancer treatment is about $88 a week. So it totals out to be about $400 a month, which is well over like their family income. So I was going to do some campaigning this month for breast cancer awareness or cancer awareness to help out the family. And I kept asking for information. So I took so long in actually getting the campaign together. It's about ready to be launched with like the donation pages. But I felt so bad that I like, I've kind of been like taking an extra work on the weekends. So I just ended up paying a whole month of his cancer treatment. And then I'm going to try to do some fundraising so we could raise the money to pay for a year of his cancer treatment. Because there's a lot of things that like you should fundraise and raffle for, like competitions or trips. But like to see a mother raffling off perfumes to pay for cancer, like chemotherapy, like that's just rough. And like on top of the fact that that social project does so much more for the community, they make about 1,500 food baskets and distribute them monthly, and they have to do a lot to get the money for that, and on top to be raffling for this kid. You know, it's just like this month, like all the proceeds from Favela Jiu Jitsu and all the donations will go to that. So all the proceeds, like the fees that we take for selling Tim's stuff, that's all going to to Kaike. So Tim's helping out in this, whether he wants to or not. So, you know, it's just what we're going to
Mushmaster love the kids. Mushmaster love the kids. Mushmaster love the kids.
I know this. I talked to Master Lloyd about it too, because, you know, they're really into like, you know, the Black Lives Movement and everything. So they tag Master Lloyd in everything, actually, that social project. And so I showed it to Master Lloyd because I know that's something that's really near and dear to him. So.
That's
All
what's
right.
up.
So yeah, so that's why we have our guests. So that what inspired us to bring on Steven, who is now here. So are you ready to bring him on?
I was born ready. Let's bring him on.
I'm still terrified about going to Brazil, and the fact that Michael from Flow Graphics,
Hey, what's going on?
It's just like,
hey, yo. What's good?
hey.
What's going on, Steve?
I heard somebody's scared to go to Brazil. What'd she say?
She said that she's afraid to go to Brazil.
I'm scared of the coronavirus. I'm scared of Brazil, Texas, and Florida. So like you're in one of those areas. I was like,
Hello?
I've been here and I'm high risk and I've never had it.
Really? Is it a liberal hoax, bro? Is this what you're trying to tell me? Is it the 5G?
No, I'm not going there. Because I literally do have 3 cousins who passed away from it, so I won't go that far. But
wow,
I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. So that's the only thing I can say. Yeah.
Blessed and highly favored.
One was only 4 years older than me. Others were older and had some extenuating things. But I mean, you know, people try to find weird ways to look at things like, hey, it wasn't COVID, it was pneumonia. Well, I wouldn't have got pneumonia if I didn't get COVID. Like if I shoot you and you die from exsanguination, you lost blood. But if I didn't shoot you, you wouldn't have lost your blood.
Yeah.
Good point.
But
Good point.
neither here nor there.
So it looks like you're still training. For everyone that's watching on YouTube, you ready to throw down?
Get ready to teach class and train today. We had a competition class early today. I've been in a bad mood because I'm cutting weight and I'm hungry.
Oh.
So you're doing pans, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. How big's your bracket?
It's not that big. I think we got 8. It's not big at all. If I would have went up to ultra, it would have been about the same. It's smaller than it normally is.
What bracket are you in for any of our guests that might want to follow you, or for me and Tim if we want to check you out?
Yes.
What bracket?
Master super heavyweight. Masters 4, super heavy.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, Steve, you're no stranger to training during trying times. Can you explain to the people the circumstances of your start in jiu-jitsu?
Okay. I'm a cancer survivor, ogliodendroglioma. It's a cancer of the glial cells. It's the sac that contains your brain. And this lady, Nancy Johnson, she used to go to chemotherapy with me. And she used to tell me that, you know, if you lay down, you'll stay down. You have to find something to get up. Just find something to get up. And I was thinking that she was speaking of my kind of mental, you know, because I didn't handle it very well, because I come from a place, you know, in Louisiana, in our area is called Cancer Alley. You know, we have one of the highest per capita rates of cancer in the nation. And I literally have lost more family members to cancer than I had fingers and toes. Various forms, not the same exact form, but, you know, it's pretty much where we live. We have a high concentration of chemical and petrochemical plants. Anyway, I was doing music at the time as well. And one of my friends, he used to fight in the UFC, Pete Spratt. He was in the UFC at that time. And I had done, you know, I'm older, so I did taekwondo for 20 years, from the time I was 7 till I was 27. And like most guys, no disrespect, but most people in taekwondo think, hey, I got to stand up down. I just need to get something else.
Taekwondo.
Right?
Oh, that's just kicking. You need the punching too.
Yeah.
Too much kickboxing or whatever. Back in the day, you could punch. It was a lot different. It definitely was different. But I basically told Pete, I was like, hey man, I want to fight. And he's like, well, dude, you're gonna have to, you know, get your ground game together. If you know, find some jiu-jitsu somewhere near you, you know, I got you. I'll make sure your Muay Thai is good. So I literally had a place, I want to say it was 3 blocks away from my house. And I walked in. I didn't take the free class. I signed my daughter up. They asked me, hey, what do you want to do? Okay, I need, how many uniforms I need if I'm going to train a lot? I said, at least get 2. Okay, I got 2. You sure you don't want to take the class? I'm like, nope. Signed up.
Wow.
And I gotta tell a story. So this is my first day of jiu-jitsu. So I walk in, and the kids' class was going on, and they had this boxing ring, and all the guys would roll in the boxing ring in the back of the gym. So they would look at the new white belts or the new guys coming in like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna twist him up and do whatever the hell I want to do to him today, right? So I go in, and they're like, hey, this is closed guard, all right? This is, you know, this is side control. This is whatever. All right, I remember that. You can do this. You can do an armbar. You can do this. You can do that. Like, hey, you want to roll around something? I'm like, yeah, cool. So I was like, so we need gloves, right? You know, I'm thinking MMA. He's like, oh, you wanna punch too? I was like, yeah, cool. So I get closed guard on a guy. He pops me one in the mouth. Closed guard opens. He passes. And at that particular point in time, I was not used to a 200-pound man's face, his chest in my face like this. So I tried to push him off me. Didn't work. Back on my face again. Tried to push him off me. Didn't work. Back on my face again. So I bit him.
Oh wow.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
Luckily,
classic white belt story. You did the classic.
Yeah, I bit him.
You bit him? Oh.
I bit him. I made a mark. And I had a mouthpiece in. But yeah, I bit him, and he beat me ruthlessly for the next several months.
And justifiably
Every
so.
chance he got.
Oh my God.
But no, it's my first class. I didn't even know that you could tap from strikes. So he's just raising up, you know, and they're, you know, rubbing their elbow in my face, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is my
Why would
first
they
class.
do that to a new guy though? Did they know? They knew you were new, right?
It was different.
They were being mat enforcers because why do white belts come and ask to spar and then be like, well, with gloves on? I think I would try to be all right.
I would just be like, let's just wait till class starts.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it was different then. We used to take bets on who was going to quit and how long. Like we had pools running on. Like if you signed up today, All right, yeah, Tim came in. Yeah, I saw Tim. Yeah, it'll be about a month for Tim. All right, what you say? 2 months for Tim.
A death pool.
And then we tried, yeah, pretty much. That's how it
That's
was.
why they call down in the dirty. They be doing you dirty. There you go.
Wow.
Down in the dirty. That's why we call it the dirty.
See, just these misconceptions. It's okay.
I mean, I would put up with that for warm weather year round. So I'm just saying, y'all got the nickname the dirty.
I got you.
Like
dirty, dirty. So were you getting treatments? Like treatments were you getting, and were you getting them and still training at the same time?
When I
don't do it.
First stopped, I finished. Yeah, I was dumb. I was still training while I had chemo. As long as I could actually get the energy up, I would go. As soon as I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to be around people. You know, it was not smart, but it kept me alive. I have literally seen people die. Watch them take their last breath and been when they can't walk, they can't really talk. And I figure if I can move around and I can do what I can do, it is up to me to make sure I use the most of whatever it is while I'm here. You know, I had a student, and if people see me when they compete, I don't have that gi on today, but it has a picture of her, and that was the last time that I saw of her alive. She was 4 years old when she passed away, and she had fought it from the time she was 1.5, and I used to give her because she couldn't be around anybody, and she would always say, you know, I want to do the jitsu. I want to do the jitsu. That's all she could say. Even when she was a baby, she just wanted to get out there and do things. And, you know, I left from seeing her then, and I came to class, and my intention was to go back that night to give her her own gi. And everybody in the gym had signed it. And we gave her a little pink belt and everything, and she was gone. So, you know, I may not do things very intelligently when it comes to that, when it comes to me, but I really feel like a lot of people didn't get a chance to do anything, or going through this, they won't get a chance to do anything. So I need to make sure that I can do as much as I can do.
Wow. How did it?
There you go, Tim.
How did it physically feel? Like, for those of you, like my grandfather passed from cancer, and you know, you hear about chemo. What does it feel like to have that while training? Like, can you describe the feeling?
See, that's the other thing. When I started, like I had played basketball in college. I ran track in college, right? And so I was fairly athletic, and I never forget my first instructor. He would always tell these jokes, especially once I got my black belt. He was, "Oh, Steve came in." Every time I would get a belt, right? Steve came in. He was not athletic. He couldn't even get through this particular part of it. And I'm sitting here like, dude, I was athletic as hell. You know, what the hell are you talking about? But I just had to deal with it. I just never looked at it as such. The second time I knew it was different. Your energy is not there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a second round of therapy, or
it recurred?
I had no. I had a recurrence. Okay. So it's like that time I knew what to expect, and I knew to deal with it. Things don't work right. You get what they call chemo brain. Like if you ask anybody who's had cancer, they have what's chemo brain. So it's like I would forget how to tie my shoes. You just learn something and you can't recall it. The mental part of it was worse. I could always push through physical because I'm supposed to be tired. I didn't think of it any other way. Like I don't have energy. there were times when I couldn't train and I would have to stay home, where I would get up from my couch and I would go to my refrigerator to get some water. And I was exhausted. I had to take a nap. So, I mean, it's not good. It kills more. Sometimes it kills more than the disease that it's trying to fight. And then the first time I had it, you know, my daughter, it was me and my daughter. You know, she lived with me from the time she was 4 till she was 16, and she was doing classes. And all I told her was I was sick. Sometimes I had the flu. I didn't want her to understand. I knew she could understand, but I didn't want her to feel like I could die tomorrow. You know, I didn't want her to have that because she's always been very, very protective of me. And I didn't want her to bear that burden of having to not be a kid, you know, and have to grow up and, okay, well, why is he feeling like this? I need to go do this, because she would do that. So that was another reason why the first time I didn't really see it any other way. I didn't want her to see it any different.
Makes sense. And I have to deal with the stress, and
that's a lot for just an adult, but a kid to see their hero, their dad, going through it. It had to be a lot. Did anyone else know that you had cancer?
Only one person at the gym, Marcus Hicks. That's everybody else at the gym. I never told them. They didn't know until like when I had a recurrence. When I said I had a recurrence, and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Oh wow.
That's when everybody knew.
Man,
I didn't want to be treated different. If I could do what everybody could do, I didn't want to be treated different. Like I said, a whole part of it was, I mean, it's an impression when you watch, like you said, you have family members that you watch, and sometimes it's even worse to watch other people's family and what they go through when you have a whole generation of people basically just standing around waiting for this person to pass away. And they do, and you see what they go through, and you know that they couldn't, there it goes, that they couldn't do anything before that. They couldn't get up, they couldn't talk, they couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't get, I'm getting to do things that I care about, that I like, and I'm blessed to be able to do it. And it might hurt some, but you know, everybody has a cross to bear, and nobody's like, everybody thinks their pain is more than anybody else's because it's happening to you, you know, but it's relative. So I don't have the problems that they have. So the rest of that doesn't matter. Okay.
So you went through all that. No one knew. So I'm assuming after you bit the guy, no one's going to take it easy on you. So what are the tips? I'm trying to lighten the mood a little. I'm trying to lighten the mood a little. Because you didn't tell them. So they're like, we're going to come in here. This is the guy that bit everybody. We're going to fuck him up. So you're going through that. You got a target on your back. What are your tips for training when you aren't feeling 100%, especially if you have a target on your back?
Make it work. I don't, it depends on what you want to do it for. Like, I was all make this, and not to make it your job where you hate to go, but make it your job and you're like, oh, my thigh hurts a little. I'm like, well, I'm not going to work today. You know what I mean? You're going to get up, go to work. Unless you really have something to the point that's very, very serious, you go. If a lot of the times you have to have a spirit of what I call aliveness. It means you're in that moment. I never understood when they said leave your ego at the door and all the rest of the little, you know, sayings people say. But aliveness made it to me like all the things that happen to me out there, if I'm thinking about them there on the mat, I get choked. So I need to leave that somewhere else. I need to be in that moment. And a lot of times, pain or stress or whatever you're going through at the time, if I come in and I'm in the gym for a few hours, right? And I have to focus on what I'm doing here. a lot of the time, the things that are not really important that bother me are gone when I leave. Now, granted, some things are important. They're going to be there when you pick them up when you walk out. But a lot of things that you let bother you, if you just take that time away from it, and jiu-jitsu forces you to do it. If you want to be decent at it, it's going to force you to just say, hey, I'm paying attention to this right now, right? You leave the pettiness out. You go home, you're like, oh, it doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? And when you make it your job and a habit, build your habit by the time you want to do it. So it's like, if you want to train every day, then 6 to 8 weeks, you need to train every day. I don't care what happens. I don't care if it rains. I don't care if it sleets. I don't care if it snows. If your hand is broken, stick that sucker in your belt and go. And make a good habit. And once you've made that good habit, it's gonna feel weird to you not to have a habit. Like now, if it's a day or a time in one of the days that I do 2 a days, if it's one of those and I don't go, I'm like having withdrawals because it's regular. And that's the biggest thing, is just showing up. You know, you can always put that aside. Just put it aside for an hour or two. And if you don't put it aside, guess what happens? The first time you roll with somebody, they're going to choke the hell out of you. And you're going to be like, oh, I need to think about what I'm doing. Or it'll happen over and over again. And then sometimes those days when you can't get out of your head, it happens over and over again. You realize, again, it's really not that bad what I was thinking about. I had to deal with somebody trying to simulate murder on me just now. So, yeah.
That focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of people that have an ADHD or stuff like that, it helps them a lot. Like I had it really bad when I first started, but then over time you learn how to compartmentalize
To kind of,
and stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to go through that the other day when I rolled up to training at 7 a.m. in my emotions, but we were working on like Barada Platas or Omoplatas, and I'm not good at them. And me and my partner have sensitive shoulders, so like every time I wasn't focusing, I wasn't getting it right, and it was like if I don't focus, like one of us is gonna get hurt. like, so it really made me think like I need to be I need to get out of my emotions and focus. Like I need to be present on what I'm doing, and that really helped because I was at the point I was like, I could roll out, and I was like, no, I need to go to training, and that really helped me just be present in the moment and what I needed to do.
Yeah, I got bad shoulders like that too. I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, all that weird, like I trained with a little purple belt. He like to invert and do all this weird stuff. Like, no, you got me doing that and like following him the wrong way. But, like, I don't want to be there.
I'm looking at one right now, warming up. Yeah, that's what he does. So yeah.
Did you have a specific, or do you have a specific diet that they eat to kind of keep you healthy and shape or anything like that?
Seafood diet.
Really?
I seafood and I eat it.
I thought it was like,
he got me. He got me good too. I was like, maybe I should start doing it.
You never heard that one before?
I have, but the way you set it up, because I'm thinking like, man, this guy survived cancer twice. Like he's a competitive athlete. I'm like, I need to know the secret. It says seafood. I'm like, man, I gotta learn how to cook some salmon or some stone crab or something like that. I'm like, damn, he got me.
Yeah, I'm like, there's an oyster house down the street. Damn.
I've done
I'm ending this episode.
Wild things, really wild things with my diet. The hardest thing for me to cut out, like I don't. Sugar's not good for anybody, but especially when you're dealing with that, especially if you're going through it, you're not supposed to have sugar. There's a whole bunch of like I hate green vegetables. Hate them. Can't stand them. Don't want them. Don't want them nowhere near me. Like you give me a steak and some potatoes, I'm good. And like everything else, so I can honestly say that I eat horribly. Like I'll eat fast food. It probably would do me good not to, but that was one of those. Again, that was one of those other things that came from being sick. Here was the thing. It was like, it's going to come up anyway. At that time when you're sick, everything you eat, nothing smells good, nothing tastes good, or you can't taste it at all. That was the only reason why when I was going through it in the midst of it, that was the only reason why I could eat a lot of the green vegetables and the stuff I was supposed to eat, is because I couldn't taste it. Like you just have this, it's like I say it tastes like you're eating pennies. Like that would be the closest I could get people to understand. It's like a really metallic, nasty taste. And then it depended upon the actual treatment that they would give you. But in general, when I'm not, when I don't have any treatments or anything like that, like right now, I'll get them every 3 months. I'll have like a maintenance treatment. But I don't eat well. Like compared to a lot of people, I really don't. So like I eat a lot of protein. I do a lot of carbs before, like that was just the big thing. Like before training, I do carbs. After training, I do protein. I do protein, whatever kind of steak that you got. I want that. I do fish. I do chicken. I do fried foods. I try to do grilled, but no. So people out there, I'm sorry to let you down, but I ain't helping you none with that one, because you don't want to eat like me. So maybe I'm just weird. So yeah, that one ain't gonna work for nobody, I don't think.
So if we edit that question and answer it out, that probably gives us an extra 20 minutes. Or we can do this.
Yo, that's crazy.
Like,
Dr. Sabi would be spinning around in his grave right
now. Dude,
But
my mom, my daughter, my girl, everybody is like, you need to eat this, and you need to eat that, and you need to eat this. And I'm like, I'm eating this quarter pounder with cheese right now.
No sea moss?
Oh no, you know what? I'll do sea moss smoothies now. I'll do the smoothies. I will do the sea moss smoothies. Yeah, those are good. Those are good.
I'm gonna tell Malachi.
We gotta send this man some sea moss.
Oh no, I will do those. I do that. That's okay. Like I try to add some other stuff into it, but nah. Like I had one of my friends. What's the really bad vegan, like that? Not, it's like
alkaline vegan.
No.
Everything?
No, it's the movie that they show you when they want to turn you vegan, about how food is made and all the rest of that stuff.
Meet your food, or meet your meat.
I don't remember. It's something like that. But I remember one of my friends showed me that, and I cooked the ribeye right after that. I was like, it's still delicious. So
somebody got it. One of my vegan friends hit me up and was mad because I said I love bacon, and it was the best. It was my cheat meal. I'm like,
bacon is meat candy.
Yes,
it's meat candy.
You look so excited about that too. He's like, nah, you embrace this. I eat what I want. Like, hey,
you only live once, man. You only live once.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man. Hey, one of my things, I'm from Louisiana. We're food snobs, right? Anybody from Louisiana is going to judge your food. I don't care where you are in the world. I like to eat, and I want it to taste good. I want to eat what I want to eat when I want to eat it. Now that's probably the one thing that I would say. Like I don't have any other vices. I may drink a beer every blue moon. I don't really drink any kind of alcohol. I don't really do, I don't smoke anything. I don't do anything else, but I like to eat. So like that's
what's up.
Yeah.
Wow. I only have one last question for you, Steve. This is all excellent stuff. Is there a message that you have for people dealing with this or any other illness and they want to train?
Find what you can do, adjust it to yourself. Yes, talk to your doctor, because again, what I did is not medically sound. And it's not going to work for everybody, but find what you can do. I pass on I'll pass on her message to me. You have to find something that's going to get you up. If you lay down, you're going to stay down. And I've seen it. I've seen people just give up because you can't. Sometimes you can't. Don't get me wrong. Especially cancer, but anything else, sometimes you just can't do anything, right? You don't have the energy. You just don't. And it's not, you can make it. I don't have it. Like, I'm going to pass out if I, you know, but you have to find something to love, something to make you want to move, to will your body to do different things. You know, that I truly believe you can make your body do what you want it to do, you know, within reason, but find that and move. It doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It's a great thing to do. I'm biased, but you gotta move. Don't sit down because they tell you sit down. Just like I've watched people pass away, I've watched people where they said, get your affairs in order, you're going in the next couple of days, and watch them, you're still living to this day. It ain't up to us, but you have a say in it. So give your best say. If you only half-ass your say, you can expect to get half-ass results back. And I don't think a lot of people they listen and say, I'm just going to sit here. And they sit here and they deteriorate. And then don't get me wrong, they'll get better, but then it takes forever to get back to being a normal person or feeling like you're normal. And to be honest with you, you're never normal. There's still things I deal with to this day. I still have, you know, I'll have these times where I'll stutter and I can't stop it. And I'll have a nervous tick, or I still have days where I literally will get up and forget how to tie my shoes. I don't know what it is about tying my shoes. It just can't do it sometimes. And I can't figure out, you know, I've even tried doing the bunny ears, but nope, bunny ears don't work. I'd be wanting to rip the damn bunny ears off, you know? So bunnies are delicious too, by the way. Just saying. Yeah.
Hey, side note, I just learned how to tie my shoes without doing bunny ears like last year. Yo, my homegirl was like, yo, well, how are you tying your shoes like that? And I was like, what you mean? And then she showed me, it changed my life. My shoes don't get untied no more.
Oh man, now you done made my day now. Like, I knew how to do it otherwise. I see.
Bro. Hey, man. But anyway, so, got light in the mood a little.
Ooh, that was a good one. I gotta tell people that one.
Well, it's gonna drop
yeah,
Monday.
It's true. Yeah.
I'll make a clip and a meme and a gift.
Don't feel bad, man. Bunny ears is fine. As long as they get tied, it's work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So you gotta find a reason for you to get up and get moving.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's great advice for anyone, but especially people that are suffering through everything, man. Like, that's beautiful, man. That's an inspiration. If you're listening to this, if you don't have a burning desire to get out into the mat to do something, man, like, you don't got a pulse.
God gave you a lot, and we focus on the negative. I walk and I pass this guy every day, and it looks. I don't want to say this to make it sound funny. It looks as if somebody like chopped off the middle of his shins and just attached his feet there. Like, I'm not sure exactly what his deformity is, but he can't really walk very well. And he stands at this corner. I'll stop and I'll give him some food. You know, it was one night that it was really cold, and I tried to give him some more extra money so he could get into a hotel. He's like, "No, man, I'm good." So, you know, but you know, and I dropped it to him. And the next time he saw me, he's like, "Man, you didn't have to do that. I told you it was good." I was like, "But he can't. Like, you can get up right now and go take a walk. I don't care how bad you feel. If you feel bad enough, but you can walk down your street." People don't understand how many people want to do that. How many people are in a chair and can't walk? How many people you walk around, you see the people with the oxygen things on where they have COPD and they can't breathe. You can just go outside and say, "Oh man, smell the trees," or the rain's coming, or the flowers are blooming. Or even if you have asthma, or not asthma, but what do you call it, allergies, you can get a full breath just enough to sneeze. They can't even do that. And if they get that, they can't even breathe. And we look at what we're going through as, it's never minor. I don't want to take that away from anybody, but we don't look at how blessed you really are God gave you something to use. Use it. Because if you don't give, and I don't care what God you pray to, I don't even get into that. Your creator gave you blessings. And too many people don't use them. So it's like, who are you to receive a gift and not use it? And then you wonder why other things go bad. Why am I going to give you some more blessings if you don't want to use the ones I gave you?
Very true.
See, people don't think like that, you know. So it's just it's bigger a lot of times than what we think. And if you just look around, you'll see, oh damn, I don't have, man. I drove here and I watched two guys, and obviously homeless guys, and they both have a plate because there's this place that it's a barbecue place and they'll give them plates on Fridays. And I'm watching them sit there on the floor, on the ground, next to the highway, eat their food. And I'm like, I'm worried about, oh man, I want to go to this place because this place isn't as good as it might be. I'm like, they ain't got a place to go. And I'm bitching. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it's got to be bigger than just finding the reason. Just find a way, but realize how blessed you really are and use it. Somebody's watching. Somebody wants to see you win too. So do it.
That's what's up, man. That's beautiful. I have nothing else to add. Nico?
Yeah, no, just like hearing all that stuff that you said. You weren't in the beginning of the podcast when I said that this month I'm raising money to help a kid in Sao Paulo that has cancer. So I paid for his cancer treatment this month, and I am trying to raise, it will only cost $4,500 to pay for his treatment for the entire year.
Send me the information.
For sure.
Or have Tim send it to me. I'll do some, and I'll make sure there's some other people.
Yeah, and then like, well, it's like, so like hearing you speak about stuff like they were saying about how tired you are, because I actually reached out, I like sent him the money on Monday, and then I've been talking to his coach, and his coach put me in contact with his mom, and his mom had said, and I didn't put it in the campaign, but I know they were also raising money to try to buy a car. They had like 6 of the 10,000 reais that they needed to get a car to take him to and from treatment. And his mama told me like, yeah, we'll take like a car there and sometimes the metro home, or maybe it was the other way around, because hearing you tell me, like, say how tired you are, and then just think them trying to get on like public transportation to and from chemotherapy. You know, that's
not good either.
Mm-hmm.
Public transportation, because you're already compromised and you got everybody around you
especially nowadays
in the middle of coronavirus. And you know, it's really trying. So like I said, we're going to be fundraising this entire month. It's $88 a week for his treatment, and it's only about $400 a month for his treatment, so $4,500 a year, and that's very doable. I've raised like almost $4,000 for emergency salaries, so I would like to do it for this family of 9 people. You know, really, really bless them for my birthday, which is at the end of this month, actually.
Okay, yeah. Let me know. Seriously, I'll take a few of those, and I'll make sure that some other people here will take some. Yeah, that's good.
And thanks for sharing your story. That was like really inspiring. That really made me think of like, you know, because you see people and you think like, oh yeah, he's fighting cancer, but to actually hear somebody describe what it's like, you know, really powerful.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, like I said again too, a lot of people are way worse than I was. They're way worse than I ever will be, even the people that have recovered. So, you know, I look at it as, it just gave me something to be able to deal with, because it sat me down for a while. Jiu Jitsu did it too. Like, I was never a patient person. I was never somebody who wanted to take the hard route. Both that and then subsequently when I got into Jiu Jitsu made me understand you only have the process. Like, I always wanted a shortcut. When I was younger, I was smart enough to figure out a way around things. So that made my life easier, but it really actually made it harder, because when you actually have to face something, then what do you do? You know, so no, yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, we'll make sure. I'm thank you for doing that.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks, Steve. Well, Steve, where can we find you?
I don't know. I don't do too much. I'm on what do you call it? I'm on Instagram.
The
Pesadello.
Instagram. Pesadello.
Yeah.
What does Pesadello mean? Side note.
It means nightmare.
Oh.
And you know that that Brazilian nicknames are never good nicknames, right? So as a white belt, Shaolin Ribeiro came to our gym, and he was teaching Spider Guard. I might have been there maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks at the most. And he's like, oh, yeah, because he didn't speak a lot of English at the time. And he kept saying, Pesadello, something, Pesadello. And the next day he comes back, yeah, because he did a 2-day seminar. He's like, oh, you're going to be a nightmare. That's what Pesadello means, nightmare. You're going to be a nightmare with the triangle.
Yeah.
So in typical white belt fashion, I went and I got Pesadello stitched in 3-inch high letters across the back of my gi of both of them. And the running joke was that I was a nightmare because I sucked that bad. I trained 7 days a week, twice or 3 times a day, up until I was a brown belt, and then I cut back to 6 days a week. And I did at least 2 tournaments every month. Sometimes I would compete every week. As a white belt, I lost every match until my very last match as a white belt. When I came back, I got my blue belt. I literally went from winning none to having 10 matches at the American International. It was in California, and I submitted everybody. And I submitted everybody with a triangle, by the way. So it was like, and I got my blue belt when I got back. And it was like, but my entire year as a white belt, entire year, I lost every turn. And at that time, that was when tournaments had, you could go into multiple divisions, do gi and no gi, and do the absolute. And some of them were like, what do you call it? Round robin, where, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would lose. I would lose, then lose the loser bracket too. Yeah. So I was a nightmare. That's where it came from.
Perseverance,
so it didn't
bro.
come out to be cool. Yeah. So,
you're a survivor, bro.
Nothing came easy for you, basically.
Nothing.
No. I was always more scared of Marcus beating me up when I got back for not doing something that he showed me. and honestly, to that brother, that is the brother. That's why I stayed in Jiu Jitsu.
How do I know
Marcus Hicks?
Has he come?
He used to fight in the WEC.
No, I was like, has he gone to Rio or TLI or something?
I know he's been there. But he used to fight in the WEC. He was around a lot on the scene before he actually got into MMA. But if it wouldn't have been for him, he gave me one private. I paid for one private, and he literally gave me 10 or 15 more for free, and made sure I stayed, because it was getting to the point where I didn't want to be there, because all they used me for was pretty much a punching bag. And if he would not have, I would have never gotten my blue belt. I would have quit if it wasn't for him.
Shout out to him. Shout out to you. We can catch you at Pesadello on Instagram.
Pesadello 26194. I don't know why I added it.
Okay.
Pesadello 261. Pesadello 26194.
You will put it in the comments. Nico.
You can find me at No New Nico, as always. And of course, Favela Jiu Jitsu. And this week, what is today? Today is Friday. I am working Saturday and Sunday because I'm still making money.
Okay, all right.
Monday, I should definitely launch this campaign and have everything, because I don't want to put it out until like the copy is perfect and everything. So I'll have all the links and the donations for the campaign. So make sure to check out favelajujitsu.com. Like I said, all of the proceeds from all of the sales, well, except the FT hoodie, I'm clearly not gonna, my brother will kill me. That one clearly says Teddy Kids Project. All of the proceeds from everything else are going to Kaike's family for this month, maybe a couple more months, depending on how sales go. And I need my $4,500. So, you know.
I got you.
You can find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram and Facebook. All Mushmaster Tim Spriggs merch will be at the Favela Jiu Jitsu store. We just got new sizes in, so if you're looking to represent the brand, shout out to all the fans out there. Yes, go to favelajujitsu.com. Also, you can catch me at timsprigsbjj.com if you want to book yourself a seminar, because things are opening back up. Hit me up. This has been the BJJ Goons podcast. Remember, guys, be proud, be powerful, but be kind. Peace.
Us.